Today's message is titled, How to Overcome Prejudice. In 2008, Toyota had to recall over 2 million of its metrics cars worldwide to fix a braking failure issue which came at a huge cost monetarily to the company, but at an infinitesimal cost to the company and the world, considering the number of lives and property that was saved as a result of the recall. In fact, almost all car companies have recalled their cars due to one or two failures which have saved the world from a huge tragedy. The grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX planes after two of them crashed cost companies a lot in terms of money, but saved the world a lot more in terms of money and most importantly lives. These companies were able to overcome and save the world from tragedies because they were humble enough to accept their products have issues to be resolved, and no matter how much it will cost the company, they are willing to put social profits, that is human lives, over monetary profit. Hence, the first step in overcoming prejudice is accepting the fact that we all have them. I have spoken to a lot of people who up to today are so prejudicial, but to them they think their opinions are based on objectivity. Hence, tried as I have to tell them their decisions are prejudicial, they are more than willing to argue with me to death in trying to prove a point that they are objective. I could remember vividly in an attempt to prove to one of them, who happens to be a reverend, how prejudicial he was, but yet he rejects it on a daily basis, insisting that he is objective. I sampled a group of young people and divided them into two groups. I told him the first group are very righteous, obedient churchgoers who are actively involved in every church activity and sacrifices everything of theirs for the kingdom. The second group I told him consists of ex-convicts, armed robbers, thieves, fraudsters and former prostitutes who upon accepting Christ are now even more dedicated to the service of the church than the first group. I told him he was supposed to meet these two groups separately and preach the same message to them. When he met the first group, that is the righteous people, he used the quotation Matthew chapter 9 verse 35 to 38, the workers are few, and made an excellent delivery. When he met the second group, that is the former sinners, he used the same quotation that he used for the first group and as usual gave an excellent presentation. Just as I thought he was going to bring the presentation to an end as he did with the first group, he decided to quote Matthew chapter 18 verse 10, the parable of the lost sheep, and Luke chapter 19, Zacchaeus the tax collector. When one reads the two extra quotations that he used to preach to the second group, it is purely prejudicial. Struggle as I tried to explain to him that he was prejudicial in using those extra quotations because of what I told him about their background. He insisted what I told him had nothing whatsoever to do with what he heard about them. Imagine his surprise when I told him the people are not who I told him they were. Therefore, the most important step in overcoming prejudice is accepting that we have them. As I indicated in my earlier podcast, admitting we have prejudice doesn't make you the devil. Every individual have or had one, and this is as a result of the environment we grew in and our programming. The problem is refusing to accept that we have them. Because prejudice is exhibited unconsciously, denying we have them worsens the situation and rather end up causing more harm than good. When I accepted that I had prejudices, the first stage I went through, which I call the conscious stage, where I became conscious to the point I always ask if I am interpreting what people are telling me as a result of prejudice or I am truly listening to them to understand them. The final stage I got to after accepting that I had prejudice is where I now see everyone as neutral and only judges them based on the things they do or say, but not based on the group they belong to or come from. Another way of overcoming prejudice is by acknowledging the diversity of the human race. Most at times, what makes us exhibit our prejudice is our refusal to admit that others are different from us. Refusing to accept diversity simply means forcing others to behave in a certain way, and if they don't, due to the group they come from, we assume that they are backwards because they didn't conform to that which we consider to be civil. For example, there are people who say they don't see color, tribe or sex and that all they see are human beings. But I highly disagree because refusing to see color or tribe simply means refusing to accept diversity in culture, which will make us to assume others are not civilized because they cannot conform to that which we refer to as civilized, put us in a position to become prejudiced towards them. Always keep in mind that having prejudice doesn't make you the devil. Refusing to accept we have them is what makes it problematic. Make it a point to identify your prejudices and learn to overcome them. Thanks for listening. Shalom. I am Delali Duku-Kumah.
Hey, I hope you have learned a lot from today's podcast. Then don't forget to share and follow Delali Duku-Kumah on Facebook and Twitter at Delali_ME. You can also contact him on +233 20 84 57 610 or +233 24 74 51 992.